All right, in this lesson, we'll dive into broadcasting operations as well as adding new series or new columns to our data frames using these existing operations. So you may recall from the previous module that we had an apply method that we called on a series. And what the apply method did was perform an operation on every single individual value within that series. So some methods in Pandas operate on the entire series as a whole, like sort values, while some methods like apply are actually applied or activate upon every single individual value within a series. Now, the term for this is called broadcasting. And if you think about what comes to mind when I bring up broadcasting, it's probably something like radio or television. And the concept is very similar because if you think about something like a broadcasting tower, it has a single message or a single broadcast, and it's sent out and it's received by all these different households, and they're getting the exact same content, so to speak. And the operation is the exact same here because these methods that we're about to introduce tell the values in a series to do the exact same thing, but each single value receives that command independently from the others. So the command or the method operates upon the values of a series rather than the series as a whole. So let's begin by re-executing our code to bring in our NBA CSV. There we have our first three rows. I'm just going to show you a few methods and a few shortcuts that we can do that broadcast or apply operations to the entire series values one by one. So let's say I begin by extracting my age column from my data frame. There we have it. There are our player ages. And let's say I want to add 5 years to every player. What I can do is call the add method, and it takes a single argument, and that's the value that I want to add to every single series value. So if I add something like 5 here, we can see that the first three results here are 25, 25, and 27. So when I execute this, I'm going to get a new series where 5 is going to be added to every value. So it's going to be 30, 30, and 32 in my first three rows. And there we have it. And what's really great about this is even if we have something like null values or blank values, those are the ones that are designated by that NaN designation, the method will still work. That's just going to return yet another null value because you can't add a number to a null value. But Pandas is smart enough to adjust for that and not throw or trigger any kind of error. So here we have a new series where we've added 5 to every single existing value in the age column. And what's really great about this is that there is a shorthand for this. So if I once again extract my age column and I want to add 5, what I can actually use is the plus sign, +5. Now this syntax is a little bit confusing for some people because they say a series is an object, it's an independent Pandas object, and 5 is an integer. How can you add a number to this random object which represents this multi-dimensional data set? Well, Pandas behind the scenes is smart enough to figure out that when you say +5, what you really mean is add 5 to every value within the series. So this is going to work exactly as we might not expect, rather we would probably expect something like an error when we combine two different objects, but Pandas is smart enough and it's actually not going to give us an error. It's going to add 5 to every value within our age column. And the same thing applies for all the other mathematical methods that I'm going to introduce. So if I extract now the salary column, let's say I want to subtract 5 million from every salary. What I can do here is called the sub method, that's short for subtract, and it takes a single value or single argument, and that represents what I want to subtract from every single value in my salary series. So if I want to subtract 5 million, that's going to be 6 zeros, and I execute this, it's going to work as expected. Just going to subtract 5 million from every row. Wherever we have a null value, it's just going to return null again, and we've performed the operation across the entire series. And the shorthand for this is predictably the minus sign. So again, a regular programmer might look at this and say, how is this possible? Well, it's possible because Pandas is really smart. And what it's going to do here is subtract 5 million from every value within the series. Same exact result. So let's try a couple other methods, and in these next two examples, I'm actually going to take it one step further. So let's begin by extracting the weight column. And let's say I want to convert these weights, which are represented in pounds, to kilograms. And the conversion there is 1 pound is equal to 0.45 kilograms. So what I can actually do here is call the MUL method. That's short for multiply. And I could give it an argument of what I want to multiply every series value by. So I'm actually going to enter the complete number, which is 0.453592. And that's going to give me a new column now, a new series that has my weight in kilograms. And there we have it. And predictably, we can also use the shorthand, which is going to be the asterisk symbol. That's the symbol for multiplication in Python. So we can do this code, and it's going to multiply every value, and we're going to have the exact same series. Now let's say I want to save this new series as a new column within my data frame. I perform this calculation, I have this new data series, and I want to add it. Since this is basically generating a brand new series, what I can actually do is add an equal sign and use the syntax that we discussed in the previous lessons by just adding and creating a brand new column. So I'm going to create a column called weight in kilograms. And in the previous lessons, whenever we did this, we assigned a single value to the right, and it just populated that value throughout the entire series. But the value on the right side of the equal sign does not have to be just a simple string or a simple integer. It can be another series like we have right here, just like we see below. And what it's going to do is match the new series by its index label to the index labels of the original data frame. And since they're all going to be identical here, it's just going to very easily concatenate, if you will, or glue that new series to the right side of my data frame. So if I execute this and now preview my first 3 rows with the head method, we can see that the weight in kilograms column has been created from scratch. It's been added to the right, and it utilizes the values within my original weight column. It just multiplies them all by 0.45. Once that new series is generated on the right side of my equal sign, it's just glued on to the end of my data frame. Let's give you one more example. Let's say I want to extract the salary column. Let's say I want to represent these salaries in just millions. So instead of the whole number written out, I want to have 7.7 written as the value. So I'm going to use the div method, which is short for divide. So again, all of these methods are just mathematical broadcasting methods. And I want to divide every value here by 1 million. So that's 6 zeros. And here we have the salaries represented in millions. Again, we can use the shorthand, which is writing out the series and then using a /. That's the Python symbol for division. If I do 1 million again, we're going to get the same result. The null or missing or NaN value here in row position 2 is going to return NaN again. So Pandas is smart enough to adjust for that. Once I'm happy with the series that I've generated, and I am, it looks good, I can go ahead and assign it to a brand new series or brand new column to the end of my data frame. So if I call this salary in millions, remember that what happens on the right side takes place first. So first it's going to take my salary column, it's going to divide all of those values by 1 million, that's going to give me the series that I see below, and finally that series is going to be added to the right side of my data frame and given a title of salary in millions. Once I execute this and preview my first 3 rows, we can see that the result is exactly as I'd expect. So whenever we use that syntax to create a new column, it does not have to be a singular value. It can be something like a new series. And in addition, broadcasting operations are ways that we can utilize existing Pandas methods instead of the apply method to execute operations upon every value in a series. They're kind of like shortcuts. And in addition to those broadcasting methods, we also have those syntactical shortcuts like the plus sign, the minus sign, the asterisk, and the /, which allow us to do these simple mathematical operations within seconds. So in the next lesson, we'll do a review of the value counts method. So I'll see you there.